Hello everyone, my name is Cosmify, and Digital Circus Episode 6 just came out today, so here is my review of the episode. In case you're kind of confused as to what happened, I'm going to go ahead and give a summary of the plot. So the episode begins. Basically, Kane wanted to do a trust exercise like a Russian roulette kind of thing, but after hearing the endless complaints mainly coming from Zubul, he scrapped that idea and instead decided to be nonchalant and not care at all about what they do. He decides at the very least to give them something, so he makes it a battle royale with teams. Pomni asks to be with Ragatha, but she actually declines, although you can tell later that she didn't actually want to decline. So Pomni ends up with Jax, where he tells her that everyone in the circus has fallen into character archetypes, with him claiming himself to be the funny one. So Pomni decides to try being the evil one because Jax told her that she hadn't figured herself out yet, which was kind of cringe but also funny. And they set off to win the competition. Jax and Pomni end up winning, and along the way, Gangle gets character development, Ragatha gets character development, everyone gets character development. Like I said, they end up winning, but they actually end up getting into a huge argument as well, with Pomni getting so angry at him and his apathy that she actually tries to fight him. This was very unexpected, and I know for a fact Funny Bunny shippers are crying as we speak. I would be too, because that was brutal to watch. First of all, I do want to mention in terms of reviewing the episode, am I the only one who felt that this episode was so much more jam-packed with lore and character analysis material compared to the previous ones? Episode 5 feels like a shell compared to this one in terms of lore bits to take away. Overall, I would rate this episode a 9 out of 10. I think I like episode 5 a little bit better when it comes to pacing specifically, because this episode felt like a whirlwind and the 33 minutes did not feel like 33 minutes at all. It felt much faster than that. But at the same time, it also felt somewhat incomplete due to the ending. But Gooseworks did intend for that to be the case, so that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. And it also didn't really affect my viewing of the episode in a negative way, so it's all good. The beautiful animation especially makes up for it. Glitch somehow manages to make every episode higher quality than the last, and they deserve utmost respect for that. In terms of the things we learned about the characters though, this episode was insanely rich, and I absolutely loved the way it explored Ragatha, Gangle, and Pomni, and Kinger, and honestly everyone. This episode has phenomenal characterization, and this honestly kind of nullifies my criticism when it comes to the pacing of this episode, because I just love the way it handles the characters, even if it feels a little off pacing wise. I can forgive that. And this is one of those episodes where it's going to be insanely fun to pick it apart scene by scene and figure out what exactly was meant by certain words. I'm mostly talking about Jax here. Jax is definitely trending in the negative direction right now, especially in his relationship with Pomni, as well as fans' opinions of him. He is not well liked after this episode, there is no way. Meanwhile, Ragatha's relationship with Pomni seems to be on the up and up, which I honestly did not expect in the slightest. Gooseworks is really good at being unpredictable, and that's for sure. This episode also contained a lot of things that I wouldn't have really expected to hear from certain characters, especially Gangle. I expected Gangle to want to avoid the adventure a little more than she ended up doing. She was actually very enthusiastic about shooting a Tommy gun, which, like I said, did not expect. Overall, I would say this episode is definitely not the worst in the series, and it's not even close. I like it better than the pilot, episode 2, episode 3, and I would even put it above episode 4. So far, episode 5 is kind of my favorite, but episode 6 is my favorite when it comes to character details and the ability to analyze further in depth. And honestly, some of my opinions here are definitely subject to change as time goes on, and especially when more episodes release. Episode 6 might end up becoming my favorite in just a few days, I don't know. We're now in the final act of the show, and so my nerves are definitely on edge, and there were definitely times when watching this episode where I didn't even know what to think. Overall, I think this is my second favorite episode, but that could very well change. And honestly, as I'm writing this, I can feel episode 6 overtaking episode 5 in my mind, so I don't really know. My mind kind of has a mind of its own. So I'll have to give it some more thought, but this episode was definitely a lot more suspenseful than any of the previous ones, so I have to give it credit for that. Overall, I'm incredibly excited to see where the series goes from here, and I think that we're probably going to get episode 7 before 2026, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of the series has in store for us. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Expect a lot more videos about this episode in the coming days. I'm gonna go to sleep. Bye-bye.